on from the email saying like, oh yeah, all you have to do is just open the attachment. All the information is in there. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And they're still going at it because I just got another email. Now it's from the admin account. And I even left them a voicemail and they didn't call me back. And now it's the admin account.
The company?
Yes, the same company from last week,
Wow.
from Friday.
Can you go over and knock on their door?
Well, I think I'm a little late on that one. I loved it when they responded, just open the attachment. All the information is in there.
Wow. Well,
I shouldn't
it
be
looks like
laughing, sorry.
What
it
could
looks like
possibly go wrong?
yeah, absolutely. Listen to Gary. All right, Sujit, kick it off. We're excited to hear what you got going.
Yeah, I actually just had this happen yesterday. Um, we had a user who's based out in the Midwest started getting weird login activity for his account from Tampa Bay, Florida, from High Velocity, who's one of those kind of shady providers down there. Then started seeing weird activity for his account from California. And initially it was just, I guess the hackers got his credentials. They got him through a phish. They compromised one of the customers, sent him a Dropbox link. He clicked it. And of course he emailed and he was like, is this legit? And the hacker's sitting right there and they're like, absolutely, click it. Um, so he went through the process. They got his creds, but the IOC rule caught that because it was an Axios agent. So the hackers probing, like I think he was compromised 121 when the logs started coming in. 142, Kaseya was like, yank, flushed all the tokens, locked the account. Hacker came back at 5 p.m. and was like, let me get all the goodies. And he was able to go nowhere. And it was just funny to see the logs because I'm just imagine this keyboard warrior on the other end trying to get into an account that's auto locked. So, and it was actually a huge win for us because we had a bit of a kerfuffle. It's just obviously holidays coming up. Everybody's busy as fudge. Our level one tech who had been assigned that case to look at it at 1:30 had missed it. So, thank God SaaS Alerts was already on it. I was able to go in, triage, and just show the customer the value right away. And he was like, no shit. And I was like, yes, shit. And then we showed him all the reports and stuff. And that was just a really cool win for us. And it was something great I could show our team on our morning call today, show ownership and management, the investment and everything that's kind of coming back into play, and just showing them the automation that really works and how it works. So just a really nice way for me to kind of start ending the week here.
That's awesome, Suji. Hey, quick question. Stories sell. Does Alpine have a decent marketing team? Like, I don't ask that condescendingly. Like,
No, it's a great question.
to turn that into a lunch and learn, a case study, like to go out to companies that don't have it. Hey, let me share with you what just recently happened.
Yep. So that was what I talked to our marketing team about when I gave the whole team a demo this morning. The owner chimed in and he was like, you know what, guys, we got to figure out how to get this in front of customers, so they can see these wins that our other customers are having to kind of sell this whole product as well. So we are right now in the process of figuring out how to kind of put all that into our marketing.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I'm going to lean on Chip a little bit today. And Ben, everything, all the research I did for today, once we get into, I did as much research, CG, as I could on the most recent identity-based attacks and trends, and I think that's really, it's obviously the premise, as Chip always talks about, of SaaS Alerts, but it'd be cool if we can all come up with like this, identity-based marketing kit and identity attack marketing kit, that how the threat actors are transitioning, from, traditional AD to, Entra based attacks, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Well, I don't know if you guys have spoken to the Kaseya guys at all yet, but I was on a webinar with Mike Coakley from over there today. And that is a man who can sell. But he was going over kind of all the logistics, the reports, the logging that comes out of Inky, and how their generative AI tool is kind of really helping to catch a lot of these more advanced phishing campaigns where people are obviously leveraging AI. You got a guy in China who's never spoken a word of English in his life, but he can use ChatGPT to craft whatever he wants. and it was pretty neat, the demo he was given. But I think their statistics are really cool. We've always used a lot of their marketing material, and we've never had a case where Inky was never not sold, because it's just always been a massive win, that platform. So
And then again, remember, this is the final piece of the equation. And Chip or Ben, please, or anybody come in. Again, we're still talking techie, right? Business leaders, executives want to know what's the business value, even though you can say we stopped this. So, let me carry this through for you. In the event this threat actor was successful, let me talk to you about how that impacts you financially, what things they do once they do have access to the account. We could talk BEC, we could talk, exfiltration, we could talk all the things, contracts, reputational damage, blah, 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 attacking your biggest customers, that I'm just saying, like, let's make sure we carry it through to the result that the executives will open up their pocketbooks and go, oh, I see why that's going to impact my revenue, my reputation, et cetera, et cetera. So any thoughts on that?
Great point.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to introduce, a series of tabletop exercises, because now you got them thinking in the mode of stuff really happens. And there are things that happen that we don't know. We don't know. All of us don't know. We don't know. We preach that a lot on this call, getting people engaged in paid tabletop exercises that help them build their own continuity planning.
Yeah.
Business continuity planning, incident response, things that a lot of small companies don't think about that I know we all think about, and presumably we all do for our businesses. But whenever there's a situation where someone just dodged an assault, a compromise, it's a great time to remind them of how important that kind of stuff is.
Yeah, really well said.
One other point, Andrew.
Yeah.
I love what Sujit said. He had a human who made a mistake, and the automation caught it and stopped it. What happens on the next CrowdStrike Friday when you're trying to triage 400 tickets all at once and something important is happening at the bottom? That's when we rely upon the automation. And I just, we don't want that to happen, but it's just, I sleep better knowing that that's in there for when we do have those, hey, I'm human, I made a mistake.
Yeah. Really, really well said. Really well said. Yeah, I just want to double down on, I think we become, as a society and business leaders and executives, right? We all hear of this attack, that attack, et cetera, right? What happens, but the end result, right? About, do you know this could happen? What is the economic impact of that? Why, or as you said, Chip, tabletop it. Hey, let me share with you take a different approach. How would you guys handle this? Do you guys have a process? Have you gone through this? What would you guys do? Have you thought about, in the event X, Y, and Z happens, who's in charge? Right? Who takes responsibility in the company? Right? How does, to Sajid's point, what does your cyber insurance say? Are you covered for that kind of stuff? Are you not covered? What kind of policy, et cetera, et cetera. Gary, you have something? I saw your hand, throw your hand up. Oh, okay.
Gary's yelling at somebody in his office.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's not behaving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's put him on. We can publicly humiliate him if you want. Oh.
So at least I'm not talking to the wall again. I've been accused of that before too.
I was going to say that's a first right there.
I've been accused of lots of things, not just talking to the wall.
Awesome. All right, who's next? Great one, Sujit. Thanks for sharing.
That it?
Come on, there's got to be more. Oh, did you have how about Thanksgiving wins? Did you guys have any really good?
Sujit did. He slept like a baby. We know that.
Yeah, that tryptophan really kicked in, Sujit.
I mean, it's nice to have a blue team win. So
yeah, Sujit has a second win.
Well, so with the end of the year coming up, we've been kind of looking at our whole stack, and now especially with the acquisition of Inky, Inky has email signature management, which we just started testing. It turns out it's going to replace Code 2 for us. They have DMARC monitoring, which is going to replace DeMartian for us. And luckily, our team was already thinking ahead of this. When we sold K365 originally, we marked it up enough that even if we had to do Inky Pro, for example, for everybody, or with the advanced attachment add-ons and everything, we would still be at a good profit margin. It really doesn't add a whole lot. So we're looking to get rid of Umbrella. We're looking to get rid of Viper. We're just getting rid of a lot of extra junk and just kind of, one stack, one fee. And it's a really nice way to end the year, because now starting Q1, I'm going to be ripping all that stuff out, and I'm looking forward to just getting rid of so many of these vendors and just really kind of going all deep into Kaseya here.
It would also, one second, Enrique, and you may be saying this, but Suji, it's huge in terms of attack surface, third-party vendor risk and vendor management, and API integrations. I mean, there's a lot of, right, Kaseya or whoever, but consolidation when we are at the 50, 60 tool range, and we've all just exploded on this cyber tool journey, which it has been necessary, but that's a lot of win there too from that perspective.
So, Jeet, I'm curious if you followed, because you didn't mention it, that Entra ID backup is also now in K365 View. Is that something that you guys will plan on using with your customer orgs?
Yep, I already started making that cutover. So I've been kind of the one on our team really leading this charge. I think since like March or April, I've just been Kaseya every week. I've been on like every webinar, everything possible to just kind of figure out how we can leverage the full stack. I was on one actually about the Entra ID backups. Now that we understood the costs around overages and everything around SaaS backups, that's all been sorted out. We are starting to move our customers over. So for a lot of our customers, we don't have a written like retention for email backups and such in the agreements. For most people, really 1 year is all they care about. So what we're doing to switch away from Dropsuite, we're disabling Dropsuite, setting up Datto SaaS, and then we're having just tickets made for the 1 year mark. And then that's when we'll talk to the customer and say, hey, we have 1 year retention, we can reduce your costs, yada, yada. You want to get rid of Dropsuite. When they give us the yay, we can start cutting that cost. And come next year, that'll be, profit that comes right back without any real major effort. The cutover was a lot easier than I thought. I just have to do some testing with Entra Restore and everything, and just kind of get comfortable with that, make the internal documentation, and then away we go. But I mean, at that point, I think the only thing we're not using at this point maybe is the quote manager, and that's somebody else's problem. So, but hey, maybe we'll be on that boat soon enough too. So,
got it. Well, that's good stuff. There's a lot more to come, specifically with integration between SaaS Alerts and Enky, which I'm really excited about. That's going to be probably middle of Q2 before, we're done. We have a lot of other integration work to do just on the business side, get all the billing stuff working properly. And, but you'll be happy to hear that K365 user will also be shifting to the CMQ plus variable usage model in just 6 weeks, maybe. Right about middle of January, all that work should be done and ready for the February billing cycle. So we're going to keep moving fast on all of those components. Although I'm no longer leading that charge personally, so we've made some other changes in-house around that. But Enrique's got his hand up, Andrew.
Yes,
He's been patiently, politely, as always, probably the most polite of all of us, waiting.
He wants to share a double bull straddle he just put on Bitcoin. And go ahead.
I want to share my Chick-fil-A sandwich. So just FYI, so make sure you all sign up for Kaseya 365 or Inky Pro before the end of the year, because then prices go up. So we already got that taken care of. Yes, $1.50 is only. I know Andy's going to hate me for this because I'm talking about discounts and savings, and Andy wants to go up in price, but this is the $1.50 is only till the end of the year. So make sure you sign up. They don't bill you till it goes into effect, but make sure you get it signed up. The other thing, also not sure if y'all turned on the online archive. So before there's Datto SaaS Protect and there's K3, the spanning for email backup on 365. Spanning is the only one that supported online archive. As of about a month or two ago, I think Datto SaaS Protect now supports online archive as well. So now you got the Entra and the online archive backup, or the inline, whatever you want to call it, from the 365 side.
Chip, there's a question about, oh, Anthony's got it already, about Entra ID documentation. Okay, thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you jumping on that. Awesome.
Enrique, you know more about these products than I do. Do you want to moonlight as a technical account manager?
Definitely. I'm a shopaholic. Ask me about anything. He's just saving Sajid on the dual signature, the one he's using. He's saving a little over $1 per license on that one. Unless he was very high volume and had under $1. But yeah, I'm a shopaholic, so just ask me.
So can you clarify more on the Entra and the spanning? Is that in SaaS? Datto SaaS Protect?
Datto SaaS Protect has the Entra ID backup, which today they're doing users, groups. For Restore, they don't have the full capability, but they'll be adding more features. Funny thing is there's a mixture between Datto SaaS Protect and spanning. Because actually Entra ID is backed up with spanning, but you turn it on the Datto SaaS Protect side. And online archive, that's a new feature from a couple of months ago for Datto SaaS Protect.
Okay, all on that portal, because I haven't personally looked at it in a bit. Okay, thank you.
And there's a check mark at the top, a little radio button you turn on if you want it for all the tenants, or you go manually for the Entra. And I think same thing for the online archive.
Yeah.
So is that just the same license? Is that the same license, or is that triggered?
Yeah, because they want you to consume more at the end of the day. So if you put your inline archive and your first one was 30 gigabytes, now you're at 60 with your inline archive if it's also another 30. So that's what we're working on. Chip is very heavily going to work with us to get unlimited data on SaaS Protect, right, Chip?
I'll certainly pass that along to who needs to hear it, Enrique.
Good. Who else? Questions, thoughts, comments? Great stuff so far. Thank you, Enrique, Anne, and Sajid. Other folks out there. I know Amanda mentioned to me offline they've been heads down, right, Amanda, with a lot of year-end stuff. You and the team. I think she's on here.
I see Amanda on there. I could probably speak to things as well if she doesn't want to come online there.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
This week has been planning week, actually. We've been laying out our roadmap for 2026 and getting it approved and figuring out where all the resources come for all the big dreams we've got. So that's the general consensus right now is it's kind of planning time.
Got it. A few things come to mind when you said that, Adam. One, just to Chip, where do we stand in the SASE report? Is it in, getting baked as we speak? Will it be ready for Write a Boom? Where do you feel that's gonna?
The beautiful thing about the SASE report is it is now being autoclaved all the time. So the data that we're collecting is actually put into the correct buckets, and the reports that we derive the SASE report from are canned. So we've automated that process. We'll probably add a few more metrics that we're tracking, a few new things. Something I haven't talked yet about with Harsh, who's one of our engineers that's in charge of all managing all that queries, is we had talked about this a few weeks ago, Andrew, that I'm very curious personally about the per capita change in actual breaches and compromises since the introduction of Fortify. I want to draw a trend line around that. It's perceptible to me anecdotally, and enough so that I think we can put some numbers on it, and I want to see what that looks like. Because I think it's an important story that we all understand.
Yeah.
Are we going to create maybe cohorts, Chip, for that? So the cohort of people who are actively using 4 to 5 versus the cohort who
Yeah,
are.
exactly. That's the way we'll do the comparison.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess the question there then becomes, how do you define somebody who's actively using it versus somebody who, clicked the button and deployed one minor thing once?
I think we can look at the average secure score that they've attained across the customer organizations that they're monitoring, and that's going to give us a pretty good sense of how aggressively they're taking advantage of the tool.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
So Chip, I'm just going to share. Anyone else? I love when you guys are sharing versus, Andy. Andy, by the way, what you sent me, was that something you want me to share?
You're welcome to, because it's a spam email. That was
Oh,
what I was trying to show.
I thought we were actually going to, talk about your metabolic makeup, which I was really looking forward to, Andy. But
No,
go
this
ahead.
was I got a first email spam that was all about healthcare. In other words, hey, here are your lab reports. Click on this.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I had not ever seen that before.
Yeah, that is new, and you can see they're going to they're using an Amazon bucket there. Well, can we talk about your HCL and lipids while we have you?
There you go. Well, given that I don't eat processed food or flour or sugar, it's as good as it's going to get.
Okay, that is well done though, isn't it, Chip? When you look at it.
Well, are you going to click on the link?
Of course, I already did. Storing.org. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then, analysis at storing.org. Andy, where do you think?
So you can at least crack a browser open and just go to storing.org and see what's there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I will ask a question about how umbrella contracts with Autotask and SaaS Alerts or the K365 might become ICB linked. Chip, are you involved at all in that side of things?
I apologize, but I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy looking at what Andy
all right.
would.
So storing.org. This is storing.com, not storing.org.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, this is storing.org. Well, that's what it is. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, Andy. Wow.
But did it redirect you? Is what
it redirected me.
I think it did.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
So that's interesting in and of itself, right, Chip?
It's using a legit domain, or it looks like a legit domain. We don't really know if it is.
Typos. Is it possibly typo squatting on it? And
it could be, yeah. Yep.
That's really.
I just thought you guys would appreciate that. When I looked at this, I went, I haven't had labs done in 8 weeks. And so why am this coming? And it's not from my healthcare provider. So all that kind of triggered, hey, this isn't legit. And it's for a very old email.
Interesting. So you obviously got dumped in some, credential.
Right.
Credential harvest.
As we all have been.
We have?
We sure have. Fascinating.
Yeah. Good one, Andy.
There you go.
So, Andy, just out of curiosity, your personal process, do you save that kind of stuff and bundle it into a newsletter that you send to your clients and, to keep awareness up?
I haven't, but that's not a bad idea. I shared it with Andrew, thinking that this might be valuable just from a trending process. As it used to be just opportunities or password resets or, as you guys have done on SaaS Alerts, a resignation. But now they're doing medical records, and I thought that was interesting enough.
Yeah,
couldn't agree more.
It's a little bit harkening back, right, Andy? It has a post-COVID flair, right? A little bit. All the health related. What's old is new. Remember how
I think everyone's doing it. They're targeting the end of year because you've got HSA accounts all hitting and all that.
Yeah, that's a really good, again, from a user awareness right now, right, Andy? Your healthcare is going to be renewing, right? Choosing your healthcare providers
or your life insurance, and you need to qualify, right?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Your HSA spending, all of those are prime targets right now. Well, I'm curious while we're on this year-end subject, what are you all doing? Like when you look at, and let's starting with you, Andy, but this is for all of you, as you look at your staff saying, "Hey, I want time off," right? Because this is prime time for threat actors, right? Less staff, more time off. Have you guys kind of thought about how you might change things, or will you change things in terms
I
of?
think, Andrew, I was just going to say, I think it applies more to our customers and finding out from them which of their staff might be out, because then we're able to respond to quote requests, quote, from people that may not be there.
Yeah, that's an excellent point too. By the way, if I could just quick tangent on that, Andy. Again, coming back to the tabletop, what would you do if you're hypothetically the CEO who's in charge of the incident response communication, or whoever's response, your head of CMO is response, like is there backup right in place? And this would be maybe more for some of your large strategic accounts. But any thoughts on that, Chip?
You're talking about in terms of customer communication?
Well, Andy, so I was saying, Andy, first, how are you handling it? And everybody out there, hey, as an MSP, you're going to get a lot of requests for time off from your staff. You're going to be shorter staff, right? More
Well, none of my
time.
staff is taking time off this time, so they like the fact that it's slow and they can
Oh,
enjoy their
okay.
days easier.
Well, there you go. I can't imagine that none of the MSPs on this call will, like, there's nobody having staff take time off. Is that fair to say? There's staff.
No, but we always have a combination of people. We only allow one or two people out on a given day. So we always have coverage except for the 6 days a year that we're closed,
Got it.
where the rest of the world is closed, so that doesn't matter, and we're on call. So that
Yeah.
doesn't really change.
But so then let's take it to the next step where Andy said, Gary, like, it's the 80/20 rule. You probably have 20% of your few clients are the biggies,
Mhm.
where maybe the executives are out, hypothetically an incident. Do you think it's a good time to talk to them about, from a tabletop perspective? Not even, hey, we got to run tabletop. Hey, in the event something happens, I just like to know who's out, to get them thinking about tabletop, right? It could lead into
Yeah.
why are you asking that, Gary? Well, let's assume something happened and 3 out of 4 of your top executives that would make decisions are out. Can we walk through what you do? Well, what are we going to do here?
Yeah. So Andrew, you're tying now into my question back to you. You're talking about customer communications. It's a great opportunity to tell your customers, here's what we're doing. Just so you know, here's how it impacts our communications plan. Maybe it doesn't because you always have somebody on call or whatever. Oh, and just a reminder, make sure you're thinking about this for your own business. What does your communication strategy look like when 20% of your staff is down, or you're a small manufacturing company and you do a 2-week shutdown between Christmas and New Year's, that kind of thing.
And let's take it one more step further, Chip. This could pivot also into a comms around, or, hey, I just want to review with you how our help desk will reach or not reach out to you, right? Because help desk scams are all the rage right now, right? Our help desk will never do this, or this in terms of contacting you, asking you to, give information to us, reset passwords, run some type of remote control tool, right? Because again, this is the time of year where that kind of stuff is way more, right? People's guards are down. People are on break, quote unquote, much more, I think, susceptible, right? Or, hey, we have a package, right? Can you verify? Hey, I just need to verify some information, right? I just want a remote control to verify this is correct. There's all sorts of physical and non-physical plays for this right now.
100%.
Yeah. So anyone have thoughts on that? How are you guys thinking along those lines? Not thinking? Don't
Small crowd, quiet crowd today, Andrew.
It is. Yeah.
Sorry,
All
working
right.
on the side. Well, so our org is a little bit different. So I'm curious if anyone else is set up this way. So we have obviously ownership, we have our VP, and then we have our senior techs. So I fall into that third group. And the way we've always had it, like the owner's available 24/7. We have a cell, same with the VP. You know, things hit the fan, like we know well enough to remediate, but then we don't necessarily need to pick up and kind of go through the whole exercise with the customer. So that's kind of where we've always stemmed it, is like remediate the issue. You don't need to talk to the customer because you don't know the full story. Let's get together and figure that part out when we need to. It's really just stem the bleeding and go from there. I've never really thought about it a step further, but now you got me thinking about that, especially with the holidays coming up. Like we have a lot of people out, and I'm one of those cuckoo people, like I can't put my phone down. I just always got to keep working.
Right.
Now with SaaS Alerts, I can't stop looking at this stuff. Yeah, so food for thought. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thanks for that, Suji. And it's also, again, to circle back to clients. Hey, I'm just curious, do you guys have a communicate in the event something happens? It's kind of a good time. This is when threat actors are holiday times, right? You can say, look, threat actors are very active when we have a lot of people, when we have people
When
out.
we're distracted by anything, but holidays are a natural distraction.
Yeah, holidays are natural. Well said, Chip. What I was going to go through, Chip, is, hey, one, can we just make sure we can review your And again, remember, most people won't have this, right, Suji? And I'm talking to everybody. Hey, can we just review your communications plan? Can we just review your cyber insurance protocol? Like, and all of a sudden it might spark, well, what do you mean our communications plan, Suji? What do you mean our cyber insurance? Right. And, then now you're into well, what do you mean? What do I mean? Have you guys, so you guys, if something happened, do we know who's in charge? Do we know, who could reach out to your biggest customers, your cyber insurance company, your blah, 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 blah. So this is the time to kind of invoke that stuff.
I see Corey and Zach joined a little late. They were probably out making plans for their time off over Christmas.
Oh, I was hosting
They
a
were
webinar.
Corey was getting bourbon for
Yeah, I was hosting a webinar. So,
Hey.
I did want to expand because obviously I just joined and right when you were saying, and I 100% agree with you, Andrew. And this time of year is also not just when we talk to customers about things like this, but we come together internally to talk about not just typical roadmap for right. Well, what are we going to do next year? But I like having roundtable sessions internally, right? So ones we're discussing this year, IR plan. When a vendor has an outage, how are we responding to this? How are we communicating? Because it happened. We've seen it happen this year a lot, right?
Well,
When
it wouldn't happen
Amazon,
to AWS.
yeah, when
would it?
AWS goes down, what are you as an MSP doing? How are you relaying that to your customers, right? So that's, IR plan, vendor outage, because we all have our own internal IR plan. It's a bad time for me to talk about that. When you have a compromise internal, we have an IR plan that we're supposed to know what to do when we're compromised. But what about when it's out of our control and it has to do with one of our vendors, right? Have constructive, and this is the toughest part that I have to do, and I did this last year, of listening to my employees and saying, okay, let's have some constructive conversations, not a B session, right? About growth. What is not working for you, right? And the job that you're performing, and how can we increase that? Then, just again, looking at simple things like onboarding. It's so easy for all of us to get stuck in our normal way of doing things. We've been onboarding customers the same way for 10 years and it works. Well, it worked 10 years ago. Is it necessarily working today? And it goes into exactly what you were talking about, Andrew, of, do you have all of the information? Do you as the MSP should know all of your customers' cyber insurance information, because they've been compromised. They're freaking out. You're the same person in this scenario. You need to help guide them and lead them to where they need to be throughout this incident. And so updating that information, updating your processes, this is the perfect time to do it. I don't like spring cleaning. I like winter cleaning. And I'll shut up because I like I said, I just got out of a webinar, so I'm just used to talking right now.
No, it's a great point. Anyone want to comment on like Corey said, it could be internal too, and internal will advise you on, look, if you're doing this, chances and all of a sudden, yeah, wow, we didn't think about this, or we do a tabletop and our post-mortem shows we really didn't have X, Y, and Z in order. Well, if you as the MSP don't have X, Y, and Z in order, chances are your customers don't, because you're the ones that are the Sherpas leading them and probably didn't go through that process with them. So it's a really good point, Corey. So all right. How was your webinar, by the way? And how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I hate webinars where people can't talk to me. I like talking to people. And so it's one of those bright talks where there's no chat. It's just Q&A. And it's like, okay. Yeah. And Thanksgiving was me. That's always my response. Thanksgiving, family comes in, you're waiting for them to leave. Something always happens. Something doesn't get cooked right. And it becomes an issue. So I prefer the non-holiday times.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I got a few things here to walk through with you, Chip, and everybody. So just to reiterate, SaaS Alerts training certification workshop at Right a Boom. Chip, we're doing pretty well. We're halfway there now, halfway to being sold out. I was thinking maybe we put in the SASE report in there, and that could be a little bit of a tweak as me, you, and Holly are talking about that. But since we're
that's why you wanted to know if it's going to be out for Right a Boom. You want it to be unpackaged and unveiled for the first time at Right a Boom.
That could be.
That could work, actually.
The other thing I just want to mention, since we're talking so much about Microsoft and Entra, I'll reveal it here. A lot will start to come up on the website for Right a Boom. We'll probably have I'm thinking at this point, what we're hearing, probably between 7 and 12 executive and director type folks from Microsoft this year wanting to do roundtable discussions with MSPs. This is folks like Lior Bella, who's the director of Internship, Monica French, who's head of US SMB, like literally all of US SMB. They are really changing how this is back to the days when I was first in this industry, when Microsoft was really engaged, back in SBS server days, when, I don't know if you remember those days, Gar, but like, they were heavily, they had a lot of interest, right, in the channel. They did a lot of certifications and trainings, and you knew how to get MDF, you knew how to get trained and certified. Well, we're in one of these waves again where they are really wanting to get involved in our businesses and bringing a lot of horsepower. So hopefully we'll have people there as well, Chip, that certainly we'll have people there that can talk about Intune, Entra, Copilot, Defender. So just FYI around that. Gary, were you going to say something there, bud?
I was just going to say back then they cared. I'm not convinced that they care anymore. You might have a different perspective, but I'm just not very impressed with the way they're handling the SMB market these days.
I would interpret Andrew's comments, Gary, as this goes through cycles with
Microsoft. 100%.
And the last cycle, like most pendulum swings, they probably overreacted to their enterprise focus and sort of forgot their roots, and they're now coming to the realization that it's they have to treat their channel partners better. So every time Microsoft does that, and look, I've been in this business as long as you have, I see it as a new opportunity to try and help drive home what it is that we need, and we might as well take it because we don't get everything we want. But we will usually get some progress that sticks through the next low.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like I just right now, like with all of the licensing problems over the last, year and a half with this NCE stuff that they jammed down our throats, it's caused huge amounts of nightmares for partners that I know, at least. but it's been nothing but easy.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Gary,
part of this from easy.
Gary, fully agree. I think, and I'm don't take me as a Microsoft like, hey, I'm in their camp. Like this is what I'm here for. My point simply is from every conversation I've had, they recognize
Great.
their eyes have been off the ball, and that's why they're like they want to do roundtable discussions. How can they get things quote unquote right?
Yep.
They're there to listen.
Andrew,
It's a,
I hope you're right. Hey, look, down at IT Nation, I was in a couple of, conversations with different people. They seem engaged, but at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding about them making changes to make it easier for us to do business.
correct. Yeah. So it'll be stay tuned. Let's see what happens,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Let's see what comes out of it. So anyway, yeah, that's what I was thinking there, Chip. We can maybe do something interesting there.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think we probably can, Andrew.
So Chip, I sent you this fun one. I thought this was well done in terms of it didn't talk about my cholesterol like Andy, but I thought it was really well crafted, right? There was a service interruption, and again, you, me, and most of us on this, I would say all of us on this call aren't going to fall for this, but the average user, I think, could very easily fall for this. Chip, thoughts?
A couple thoughts. First thing, I wonder how targeted this was. Because if you think about the general population of people walking around with cell phones who could get smished, they're going to look at this and say, "What's a domain? What's domain registration?" Like they're not even going to have a clue. So I was, we didn't get a chance to talk about this at all over the past few days. So I just am really curious, like how targeted is this actually? What list with your phone number would it show up on that, you're a small business owner with a very, very active domain, particularly in the security space. If anyone's gonna fall for it, would be somebody with your profile, but maybe not so security minded. But I can't see the average person even understanding what this is. I don't know if you agree with that.
I see,
Um,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I'm always the most curious about any kind of smishing, phishing, or anything else to understand the how things are targeted because it feels to me like it's different than last year was different than 2 years ago, and this year's been different than last year. Things are getting more and more precise. In again, this is my anecdotal view. I don't have the data to back it up, but I feel like things are getting more and more precise into the kind of stuff that comes across my plate individually, in terms of the audience that it's trying to hit.
That's really insightful. 100% agree. All right. So Chip, this is another one we went back and forth on. This is very new, but I just wanted to share with everybody some changes that Microsoft, we saw the token protection come into play. Now they're as of I think it's about a year from now, Chip, they're going to force only certain domains that can actually authenticate and prevent cross-site
Mm.
scripting. And like people that, or corporations that might have browser-based sign-ins and things like that, all that is going to get blocked. And so as a result, there are even, here it is, Microsoft urging organizations to test sign-in flows ahead of time, because you could see if you don't, this could, once this goes into effect, you're gonna have some. Again, of course, everybody reads and everybody tests. So joking around, this is going to have probably some major ramifications when this finally goes into effect. But if this applies to any of you out there where you have customers that might have some unique sign-in capability, please be aware of this going into effect. Again, it's a good thing that Microsoft is enforcing. Any thoughts on this one, Chip?
Yeah, I still didn't get a chance to read it. You had sent me this when I was essentially off the grid. But are you saying that Microsoft is really ending what was once an advised practice for at least medium to large enterprises to have their own customized sign-in page for 365, Outlook, Entra, the whole kit and caboodle that allowed you to manage settings, like for instance, allowed you to turn off the keep me logged in query at the beginning. So they're ending all of that and making everyone come through a common portal. Is that how you interpret this?
I mean, that's what I'm interpreting as I look at the login chip. I mean, I think they're forcing through that common practice, but
Yeah.
that's how I read it. Corey, you see anything different from your eyes, by the way, bud?
No. Yeah, this is news to me. I haven't seen this yet.
Enrique,
So
what do you see, by the way?
when,
Yeah, go,
Oh,
Chip. Go ahead, Enrique.
well,
Go ahead.
well, I don't think they're going to limit to not being able to customize your page. I think it's just they're going to limit the communication between the login.microsoftonline.com and your page. They're going to put some type of security in there, but I don't think they would remove that. That'd be going like 10 steps backwards.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question, Enrique, because there's some features about customization that were put there for security reasons. But I also wonder what this is in a reaction to. Microsoft doesn't take a step like this with their IDP system unless there's something driving it, I would think, from a security perspective. So I definitely have to do more digging on this one, Andrew. I apologize that I haven't.
No problem. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. Yeah, I need smart folks like you, Chip, to kind of dig in and exactly what this means. But again, I take it as a positive, just like token protection and those types of things that they're doing. It seems, and again, this one, because it's enterprise based, who knows, Chip, this could have been some of the compromises they felt personally, right? That
Yeah.
we've seen. Not to make light of it. So I really wanted to share this article with everybody. I'm gonna share just a little bit, Chip, from here, and then I'm gonna go to the article in the browser because I think this is, I think, one of the most well done articles I've seen in a long time by this company. I've never heard of them. Omvia out of the UK. They talk about the top 7, misconfigurations in M365 that lead to breaches. And, they nice little graphic here. They start off talking about, multi-factor, of course. Before I jump to the article, which I'll show to everybody right in momentarily, I also wanted to share that this is another thing, Chip, that it appears, and again, I can add this, that Microsoft is really starting to put in policies to get people away from standard MFA in their with Entra. Are you seeing that as well?
We've certainly seen a big push from our community for our own applications. So, SaaS Alerts was once only SMS capable for MFA. We've changed that. 5 years ago that was okay. It no longer is. I haven't heard a lot about this bubbling up specific to Microsoft, but I certainly support it. You and I have been talking both on this call and privately about the world switching to passkeys, and preferably passkeys with FIDO tokens, with hardware tokens. So I'm 100% behind it. I think it's the way to move.
It'd be interesting to see if they did enforce this in Entra, like how MSPs would react, quote unquote, right? Now, all of a sudden, as I said, we've taken how hard has it been to get everybody just on standard MFA? And if now all of a sudden you have to go to a passwordless or FIDO2, that'll be really interesting.
Yeah, but Andrew, so there was an original deadline for this fall that has been pushed back, I think, to March.
Okay.
That requires, or Microsoft is going to require MFA. I thought that was going to be phish resistant and not just SMS or one of the other methods.
Well, no, like what I'm reading is SMS is like they're not even a. That's not
Yeah,
one.
no, that's what I'm saying. I thought they were going to. I thought the March deadline was for fish resistant methods,
Oh, I
which
see what
would
you're saying.
exclude SMS.
Yeah,
Or,
that's what I think this is saying, Gareth. That's
yeah,
what
I think that deadline's already been set for March.
Well, wow. Okay.
You
So
know,
yeah, go ahead.
Andrew, you bring up an interesting thought experiment, hypothetical. How would the MSP community respond if Microsoft said, let's say they go all the way to the end, the extreme end, and say, if you're going to use Office 365 or Azure, you have to use it with a FIDO key
Yeah.
or some kind of passkey. That's the only thing we're going to accept anymore.
Or hello. Or hello, right?
Yeah. So my thought experiment leads me to that initially MSPs would grumble, but I would think in the long run, and they would get it pretty quickly, that if Microsoft was laying down the law and it was coming from them, that the MSP has the perfect cover to go to their customer and say, "Hey, we've been talking to you about this for a long time, and you've resisted. You didn't want to do it. It's too much of a hassle. And now we have to. Like, it's super simple. Yes, it's going to cost you an extra $50 to buy a YubiKey or buy devices that have biometric built in. But this is the only way it can work, and it's for your own protection." That kind of gives the MSP universe the cover to make everybody do it right, I think.
Oh, don't disagree there. But I'm just thinking operationally, right? The bigger the MSP, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts, Sujit, in 2 seconds, right? If you're Corey, who has, I don't know, 400,000 endpoints out there, hey, Core, have fun. You can only imagine you have some endpoints, MSPs, 2, 3, 4,000 endpoints. Now you got one that has 400,000. I mean, you're talking operational hell that's going to
I mean, I
come.
just remember the RSA tokens that everyone lost, and it was hell maintaining hardware devices. And I've seen organizations that just have these keys in a fishbowl. If you lose yours, come pick up a new one. I guess the expectation is they just leave it plugged into their hardware at their office or at their home. It's just difficult to maintain those.
Yeah, but it is a lot easier today, Corey, to say, hey, look, you got to implement at least passkeys, if not all the way to a separate device. Almost everybody's laptop these days has a biometric
Yeah.
device. You can use your face, Windows Hello, and you have that opportunity now with just about everything.
Yeah, I mean, the military switched over many years ago to cards, right? And
Yep.
You put your military ID in there, which got to has the chip, and that's the only
Yep.
2FA. That's your hardware token.
Sujit, you had something, bud?
Well, I was gonna say it's just kind of like it's like parenting, right? Like you're always concerned for your kid. You want to protect them from all the harms of the world. But at what point are you going to just wrap them in bubble wrap and shove them in the basement so that they can never get hurt? Like at some point, they have to trust admins. I think it's great to lead with those and say, hey, these are our defaults going forward, and we're going to phase this out unless you have like a break glass admin. I would need at least this to be available on a break glass because Microsoft this year alone has gone down often enough where MFAs failed, emails failed, Azure resources have failed. So if it's always these things that require internet connectivity or require these multiple stages of validation, but when those services go down and you have nothing else, you know what I mean? Like that's where I've never been a fan of that. I still like having SMS and those kind of things for at a minimum a break glass.
And who knows, maybe that'll be there or not. I'm just taking it as I'm taking it as an exercise just out of curiosity, Sujit. If they say, hey, this is it, tough. How P is going to handle. That's really.
Yeah, I mean, we would manage. We've been using OTP with IT Glue for so long. Like we have nobody out there that really defaults to SMS or anything else. So if they flip the switch tomorrow, I mean, it'd be like fart in the wind. We wouldn't notice.
I question the March timeframe. I mean, you saw the third item on that picture was legacy authentication. How many times and how many years ago did Microsoft insist they were getting rid of legacy authentication? However, we still see it out there. Yeah. They only turned off, they not flip-flop, but they only turned off 80% of legacy authentication and not the whole thing, right? If you're in SaaS Alerts and you dive into it, BAP2 ROPC, guess what that is, right? It's the adversaries using authenticated tools going against legacy authentication because Microsoft didn't turn it off by default like everybody assumed they did.
Enrique, what do you got real quick?
Well, we would really, we moved ourselves off Entra. We federated to another third-party tool, phishing resistant with our mobile phone, and we would love that. I think we have to remove passwords and any variance that has a token in the middle, especially when Microsoft is leading, I would think, the IDP world.
Yeah. So Chip, I'm just going to, in the interest of time, 20, 30 seconds left, I'll maybe this is something we could go over, but I just wanted to show you this, that they go over, the top 7 misconfigurations, why it happens. They give you, where it happens, why it happens, like things like, like what Corey was just talking about, right? Older
Yep.
versions of outlets, etc. And then the attack path, and then they give you the how to fix it. And I just thought this was really well done. What are your thoughts as you just glance?
Well, my self-serving thought on how to fix it is use SaaS Alerts Fortify and fix it for all your clients in one shot. One press of a button, change the policy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Corey's spot on. I mean, it takes Microsoft a long time to actually enforce what it is that they say they're going to do. Legacy Auth is a great one. Like I don't know anybody anymore who's using like Thunderbird as an email client. It has to come in with SMTP, but I guess it's out there. I mean, people get stuck in their ways. I got an email from, believe it or not, a contractor that's been some work for me, and it was with an AOL.com address. Like I didn't even think that was possible anymore. So, things hang around for a long time in the world of technology. I'm one of those who would support Microsoft putting the hammer down and tightening all this up. Sujit's right. You need some kind of break glass account, but there's one rule I would put in there, and this is something that we see all the time with small MSPs in the SaaS Alerts universe, which is you can't have a break glass account with the term admin in it.
Yeah.
It cannot be allowed. And you can't believe how many times we see this with, again, it's maybe less common now than it was at the beginning, but admin _ MSP name at customerdomain.com is like the break glass account. Come on, guys.
Unless you're quote unquote, unless you're using it as some type of
unless it's a honeypot
of something. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Corey, I'm gonna send you a text real quick, okay, bud?
Andrew, if you could also throw the link from that screen grab in the chat. I didn't see it unless you
That one
already did. Thank you, sir.
That one that I just put up.
That's perfect.
Cool. All right, everybody. See you next Thursday, right?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys.
Sleep well, Sujit.
Have a good week.